Ed, do you want to do the honors?
Oh, yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God.
with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silence for our departed and people that are in bad way, under the weather. Thank you. Okay, so. Tonight's discussion, and Lynn, did you send that or are you in the process of sending that?
So I sent an email today at 4:05 with the
Okay.
numbers, based on what Bob had sent. And, now I'm sending the emails right now for, if the board should choose to vote on the second floor expansion, subject to moving the funds, and permissive referendum. So that I'm sending right now. And also don't forget the controlled inspection award. So you should have a set of resolutions for the first floor only, and the only thing you would have to do there is just change the date of the resolution, and what I just sent out was sent out in connection with the second floor.
Yeah, I have to refresh. I didn't see it yet.
Got it.
Okay, so tonight we are here to discuss laws on tonight, to potentially discuss the awarding of bids for the first and potentially second floor of the expansion build out. I don't have those numbers in front of me, Lynn, but I guess they'll be here shortly. Okay, so Lynn has been kind enough to work with our bond counsel and our attorney, and we have a list in front of us. I don't know if you guys have it on your phones. She was kind enough to print out or compile a list of the monies that we need to have on hand and to be able to go forward. So the bond amount, we were authorized $15,205,580. The contracts will, and for phase one, will total $12,747,794. The balance left after the bond amount is $2,457,786. And we have remaining phase one costs. I'm not, I guess that means to build out phase one and two. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
No, those are the soft costs that have not already been spent that are associated with phase one.
Okay, all right, 1 million, all right, and so that's subtracted from the 2,457,786. And that gives us a balance left over of $816,149, $816,149. So the phase one construction contingency, we have to take out of that, and that is $637,390, which leaves us a balance of $178,759. So in the capital reserve, there's about $500,000 that was set aside for this project back in August of 2023. So if you add those two numbers to the 178 and the 500,000, that gives us a $678,000 with change for the second floor build out. Our financial advisor, Brendan Kennedy, from the audit company, advised that there was 1.2 million at the end of 2023 going into 2024. And it was in the general fund, unencumbered. It was not slated for any particular purposes. We were going to move that to various line items like capital reserve trucks, capital reserve buildings, turnout gear, safety gear, and things like that, but we didn't get around to doing that. So we will be doing that. And that's something that we can move without a permissive referendum. So the second floor build out will be $1.6 million. Which is other money, not including the first floor build.
That's the phase two though, right?
Yeah, that's phase two. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Yep, phase two. So the second floor, phase two, same thing. That's $1.6 million, and we can proceed with the second floor, provided that we use a permissive referendum, subject to a permissive referendum. And what that means is we have money in some of our accounts that we can move with and put towards the project with permission when we go to permissive referendum from the public. So it's just a matter of getting that approval. I think that takes 45 days, if I'm not mistaken. And then we can move forward with that. And that should cover us for the first floor and second floor alternate. Lynn, Bob, do you guys have any comments? Bill Jackson, do you have any comments that you want to make? Michael?
I do not.
Okay, Lynn? Michael?
Yeah, Dwight, I just want to, we had just spoken previously, and just for the board's information, you guys would act on the contract and certain aspects tonight, and Lynn, Lynn and Bill, I think I have this right. The actual permissive referendum resolution would be adopted next week, when you guys have a treasurer in place and we have the final permissive referendum number. So I just want to be clear about that. You know, the last 2 days exercise involved taking a look at the big picture. We don't have the final number. We're confident that you have all the monies you need to do the deal. But you know, when you guys resolve reconcile your QuickBooks with your notes as you have them right now, have your treasurer in place, you guys would then adopt that resolution for the permissive referendum. So I just want to be clear about that, because we want to know what that number is. And I just want to, you know, I want everybody to feel comfortable about, you know, the resolutions that you'd be moving forward this evening.
That's a big help. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Mr. Jackson, you have any comments?
No, I think the exercise was helpful and useful. I think reaching out to your accountant was an important step. And then, as Michael indicated, when you bring your treasurer on board, you know, they will help you do an accounting and moving the funds over from the general fund to the reserve, so it could be approved as part of the permissive referendum process that you just described.
Okay, very good. And does anybody on the Zoom, anybody have any comments? Did I make any misstatements here? Okay, hearing none, that's a good thing. Pete, I see you're on the Zoom. Do you have any comments? Okay, okay, good.
So no, I don't have anything for this present time.
Okay, very good. All right, so Lynn, did you send any resolutions over? You're muted.
Yeah, she said she did.
I just had them on my phone, they're
Yeah.
gone.
I didn't see them.
I see them. They're in the email dated 5:06 p.m. from Lynn to everybody.
Oh, okay. It was,
Okay.
it wasn't highlighted
Okay.
as unread. It was showing as
I thought it
read.
was a new email, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so let's see, the GC, I guess, is probably, well, we start at the top and do the EC first, electrical contractor. Unless you have a preference, and yes,
Well, I would do the general contractor first.
it's in the middle, I can do that.
Oh,
All
okay, all
right.
right, do
If
whatever
you're
you
taking
think.
notes on which one I do. just,
No, that's fine.
I just don't want to try and duplicate it, so let me close that one out. All right. All right, GC. Let me just open it up, I'm sorry to hold you up. Computer is slower today than normal. Okay.
I'm gonna text Charlie just to see if he's en route or
Yeah,
whatever,
please,
but
please.
if not, you know, there's enough people here to proceed.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the resolution. I don't know if I can print it, we'll have to print it out later. Nancy, would you just, when there's a place that we have to put a name or a date or time or something like that, would you just take a note that we have to
Yeah.
do that at some point? Okay, so resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Town of Newcastle Fire District #1, a meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Newcastle Fire District Number 1 in the town of Newcastle, Westchester County, New York, was held at the Fire District Firehouse located at 491 King Street, Chappaqua, New York, and said Fire District on July 17th, 2024 at 5 p.m. It is now 5:14 p.m. In attendance, there were Dwight Smith, Nancy Zezzi, Mike Soldo, and Ed Frank. And we're looking to see where our fifth commissioner is. Hopefully he's on his way. After the due discussion and deliberation, further consideration and review on motion by, now we need a motion. Okay, well, let me just read this before we do the motions, and so we have a clear understanding of what's going on. This is after the point where somebody motions and seconds it. Whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners, the board of the Newcastle Fire District Number 1, the district, has approved the expansion of the existing fire station, the project, located at 491 King Street, Chappaqua, New York. Whereas the voters of the district approved a bond issuance in the amount of $15.205508 million for modernization and consolidation of fire operations on April 25th, 2023. And whereas
24.
it was approved,
okay.
the bond was
Oh, okay,
approved back
sorry.
a year ago, yeah. Whereas on August 17th, 2023, the board approved a resolution for the use of up to $1.5 million from the Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, which resolution was subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof was published as required by law. Whereas on April 13th, 2024, the board approved and authorized the submission of the bid package prepared by Wendell Architects to obtain sealed bids to perform the work to construct the project for 5 separate contracts for the following components: the project, general construction contract, GC, sprinkler contract, FSC, electrical contract, EC, plumbing contract, PC, and mechanical contract, MC. And whereas on May 20, 2024, the bids were received and opened publicly. And whereas the board received 5 bids for the general construction contract, and the 3 lowest bidders ranged from a low bid of $10,138,000 to a bid of $10,460,881 with alternate GC1. And whereas, pardon me, the lowest dollar bidder with alternate GC1, Key Construction Services, had submitted a bid of $10,138,000. And whereas the board finds that it is in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District to complete the construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate GC1 at the same time as completion of the first floor, and to fund the costs thereof from the Fire District's reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund, authorized or expected to be authorized by the board for such purpose. And whereas the board intends to approve a resolution for the use of funds from the Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, which resolution is subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof shall be published as required by law. And whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Recommendation of Award, contract number 1, general construction option 2, dated 12 July 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bids. And whereas the board finds that the lowest responsible bidder is Key Construction Services LLC. Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby determines to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate GC1. Resolved that the board hereby awards the general construction contract to Key Construction Services LLC in the amount of $10,138,000.00. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the general construction contract with Key Construction Services LLC, or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the general construction contract shall be revised to include a contingency for the second floor as set forth in GCC1, which shall be subject to permissive referendum. Okay, so now we're at the point where we need a motion and a second for that motion. May I have a second of that motion, or a motion and a second, please?
I make a motion to proceed with what you just read.
Okay, thank you, Ed. And a second for that motion, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so, Ed and, Mike, and the A's, okay, so all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. Okay.
I'm going to say no, but I just want to preface
Yeah.
it with a statement. I do appreciate all the work that went into this project from 2006, I believe it was, and all the hard work that everyone has done from that point, all the professionals that have worked on the project.
Okay.
My concern is what happened last night. I still have concerns, even though the financials were reviewed. I have concerns about the financials. I also have concerns about the record keeping.
Yeah.
I will do everything I can to help move this project forward, but at this time, I am a no on the vote, but a yes for the project, if that makes any sense. And again, it's just because of the record keeping and the financial questions.
Okay.
I need to be sure in my mind that it's, the funds
Okay.
are there.
So it's a no as opposed to an abstention.
That is correct. It's a
Okay.
no for me.
So we have 3 yes and 1 no and no abstentions. Okay, so it looks like the vote is passed. Okay. All right, so now we go on to resolution. Anybody have any preference which we do next? Doesn't matter, I guess.
I just have a question. though. Charlie's a no vote because he hasn't responded. He's a no or an abstain.
He's not here to
He's
vote.
not present, not here.
No, so he's just absent, just
That's right.
list him as absent.
That's right. He's absent.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, I'm gonna do the electrical contract next. Take a couple seconds to open. I apologize, everybody, for the slow speed of the computer.
Electric next.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna need a throat lozenge.
You want me to get your water?
I got water in here, thanks. Okay, all right, second floor option, PR. Not sure what that means. What does PR stand for? You're muted. Permissive referendum, okay. Resolution of the Fire Commissioners of the Town of Newcastle Fire District #1. A meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Newcastle Fire District #1 in the town of Newcastle, Westchester County, New York, was held at the Fire District Firehouse located at 491 King Street, Chappaqua, New York, in said fire district on July 17, 2024 at 5 p.m. Folks on Zoom, may I skip that, or do I have to read that every time?
Dwight, the board can waive a full reading of the resolutions. If you want to just do be it resolved and then vote, it'll cut down a lot of the reading.
I would like to, I think everybody would like to know that we're reading everything and we're all completely aware of what's in the whereas, and so on. So I don't mind reading that, but the header, it just excess time. Whatever you think is right. I just want to make sure everybody is knowing what we're voting on.
You could say pursuant to what was emailed.
Okay, pursuant to what was emailed. Okay.
Yeah, pursuant to the documents
Okay.
emailed today.
Fair enough. So anyway, this was, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we already read.
Yeah, everything's pretty much the same, except where you get down to the actual bids
gonna-
that are being awarded, whereas
Right.
the board received how many bids for which contract.
Right, I'm gonna start there. Whereas the board received 2 bids for the electrical contract with alternate EC1, and the bids were $983,727. And the other bid was $1.233 million. And whereas bidder All Wiring Electric LLC failed to submit required documentation and did not submit a bid for alternate EC1, and therefore the bid was incomplete. And whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Recommendation of Award, contract number 4, electrical construction option number 2, dated 3 July 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bids. And whereas the board finds that the failure of All Wiring LLC to submit a complete bid is material and renders the bidder disqualified. And whereas the board finds that it is in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District #1 to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate EC1. I'm just gonna wait a second.
Yeah, these
For
two
those-
paragraphs are also consistent with all the other resolutions.
Yes, okay. Okay, so whereas the board finds that it's in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District #1 to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate EC1 at the same time as completion of the first floor, and to fund the cost thereof from the fire district's reserve for building capital repair fund authorized or expected to be authorized by the board for such purpose. And whereas the board intends to approve a resolution for the use of additional funds from the reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, which resolution is subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof shall be published as required by law. Whereas the board finds that Talt Electric is the lowest responsible bidder. Now therefore be it resolved that the board rejects the bid of All Wire and Electric LLC. Resolved that the board hereby determines to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in EC1. Resolved that the board hereby awards electrical contract to Talt Electric in the amount of $983,000, $727. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the electrical contract with Talt Electric or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the electrical contract shall be revised to include a contingency for the second floor as set forth, pardon me, in alternate EC1, which shall be subject to permissive referendum. So now we need a motion for the electrical contract and a second for that, please.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept Talt Electric for the electric part of the project.
Okay, thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, sir. Try to put you guys on the. Okay, all those in favor, please say yes and raise your hand. Saying aye. Okay, thank you. All those say no.
Myself for the
Okay.
reasons listed
Before.
prior.
Thank you. Okay, so motion has been voted on and the resolution has been voted on and passed. Thank you, folks. Okay, now we go to the FSC. Bear with my slow computer. Okay, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Town of Newcastle Fire District No.1. A meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners, Newcastle Fire District was held in the town of Newcastle, Westchester County, New York, at the Fire District located at 491 King Street, Chapco, New York, July 17th, 2024 at 5 p.m. There was only one absent commissioner, otherwise there were 4 here. They can be noted in the final minutes here. Whereas the district received 1 bid for the fire sprinkler contract with alternate FSC1 in the amount of $307,000, and whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Recommendation of Award Contract number 5, fire sprinkler construction option number 2, dated 12 July 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bid, and whereas the board finds that it is in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District No.1 to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate FSC1 at the same time as completion of the first floor, and to fund the costs thereof from the Fire District Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund authorized or expected to be authorized by the board for such purpose. And whereas the board intends to approve a resolution for the use of additional funds from the Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, with which resolution is subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof shall be published as required by law. Whereas the board finds that SRI Fire Sprinkler is the lowest responsible bidder, now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby determines to complete the construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate FSC1. Resolved that the board hereby awards the fire sprinkler contract to SRI Fire Sprinkler in the amount of $307,000. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the sprinkler contract with SRI Fire Sprinkler or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the sprinkler contract shall be revised to include a contingency for the second floor as set forth in FSC1, which shall be subject to permissive referendum. May I have a motion to approve or vote on this?
All right, so I'll make a motion to select
SRI.
SRI Fire Sprinkler to be our fire sprinkler contractor for the project.
All right, thank you for the motion. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all right, so with a show of hands and saying aye, would you please raise your hand and say aye if you vote for this resolution? All those opposed, please say aye. I say nay.
Nay.
Okay.
For the previous
Yeah,
reason.
right. Okay, so it looks like this resolution has been approved. Thank you, folks. All right, we did the GC. Now we're doing the mechanical contractor. Okay, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners, Town of Newcastle. As stated in the previous resolutions, it was held today's date. Well, it says it's today's date, the 17th, not the 15th, at 2024 at 5 p.m. There are present 4 commissioners. One is not present. Whereas the village received 3 bids for the mechanical contractor and the lowest bidders ranged from a low of 1.818 million to a bid of 1.973 million with alternate MC1. This is the mechanical contractor. Whereas the lowest dollar bidder, Intricate Tech Solutions Limited, submitted a bid in the amount of 1.818 million. And whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Recommendation of Award, contract number 2, mechanical construction option number 2, dated 12 July 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bids. And whereas the board finds that it is in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate EC1 at the same time as completion of the first floor, and to fund the costs thereof from Fire District reserves for building capital repair fund authorized or expected to be authorized by the board for such purpose. And whereas the board intends to approve a resolution for the use of funds from the reserve for building capital repair fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, which resolution is subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof shall be published as required by law. And whereas the board finds that the Intricate Tech Solutions Limited is the lowest responsible bidder, now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby determines to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate MC1. Resolved that the board hereby awards the mechanical contract to Intricate Tech Solutions Limited in the amount of $1.818 million. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the mechanical contract with Intricate Tech Solutions Limited, or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the mechanical contract shall be revised to include a contingency for the second floor as set forth in alternate MC1, which shall be subject to permissive referendum. May I have a vote, yea or nay? All those in favor?
Motion in a second.
I need a motion for this to be approved.
So I make a motion that the board award the mechanical contract to Intricate Tech Solutions.
Limited. Okay, good. All right, thank you for your motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second
All right, thank you, sir. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye or raising your hand. All right, all those opposed, please say nay.
Nay for the reasons.
Yes, previous again. Thank you. Okay, and PC. Okay, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Town of Newcastle Fire District number 1. On this date, July 17th, 2024 at 5 p.m., there were 4 commissioners present. And after discussion and deliberation, we received bids for plumbing contract. We received 2 bids. One was $881,898, and the other bid was $928,000 with alternate PC1. And whereas the board finds that it is in the best interest of the Newcastle Fire District number 1 to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate PC1 at the same time as completion of the first floor, and to fund the costs thereof from the District Fire Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund, authorized or expected to be authorized by the board for such purpose. And whereas the board intends to approve a resolution for the use of additional funds from the Reserve for Building Capital Repair Fund for the development and expansion of the existing firehouse, which resolution is subject to permissive referendum and notice thereof shall be published as required by law. Whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Recommendation of Award, contract number 3, plumbing construction option 2, dated July 3, 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bid. And whereas the board finds that the Southeast Mechanical Corporation is the lowest responsible bidder, Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby determines to complete construction of the second floor as set forth in alternate PC one. Resolved that the board hereby awards the plumbing contract to Southeast Mechanical Corp. In the amount of $881,898. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the plumbing contract with Southeast Mechanical Corp. Or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the plumbing contract shall be revised to include a contingency for the second floor as set forth in alternate PC one, which shall be subject to permissive referendum. May I have a motion on this resolution?
I make a motion that the board, award the plumbing contract to Southeast Mechanical Corp.
Okay, thank you. May I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, it looks like the resolution has been approved. Thank you. We have one to go. Controlled inspection. Okay, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners, Town of Newcastle, Fire District number 1. Let me get down to the meat. We have, let's see. Whereas on May 13th, 2024, bids were received for a controlled inspection consultant for the project, and whereas the board received 4 bids for a controlled inspection consultant, and whereas the board has reviewed the Triton Construction Controlled Inspection Services recommendation dated July 3, 2024, and all attachments thereto in connection with the bids, and whereas the board finds that Tectonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land Surveyors, DPC, is the preferred consultant. Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby awards the Controlled Inspection Services consultant to Tectonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land Surveyors, DPC. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is authorized to execute any document necessary to memorialize or implement the Controlled Inspection Services contract with Tectonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land Surveyors, DPC, or otherwise further the intent of this resolution. May I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I make a motion that the board approve awarding the Controlled Inspection Services consultant to Tectonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land Surveyors, DPC.
Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Thank you. Okay, it looks like this resolution has been approved, and I think we are done. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the camera and say, what next? Is there anything else we have to do legally tonight to kick this off? Or to make this? There's a lot of silence out there. You guys got to talk.
No, I think you're good. As Mike said, you know, once the accountant comes on, the treasurer comes on, you'll figure out exactly how much is in the coffers. And then you'll make a resolution to use that amount towards the second floor, the amount that's needed. And it'll be subject to permissive referendum, and then you're on your way.
Okay. All right, very good. So that should be happening in the not too distant future. I know Charlie has communicated with the prospective client, treasurer, and sounds like she's anxious to come on board. So this will be happening presumably this week, and we'll start making some headway in that regard. So, okay, so does anybody have anything else they want to bring before the board this evening before we adjourn?
Yeah, Bob here. So who is issuing the notice to the contractors?
I think Kevin is gonna issue them.
But
And
he's on vacation this week.
right, so, all right, so he's provided his form. I know Christine has. I mean, I can work on them tomorrow if you want to take a look at them. They'll have to be, you know, with that contingency on the second floor.
Mhm.
But, do the notices have to go out within that, by Friday also? I mean, we want to get them out as soon as possible, but
Yes. I don't know the legality of that. I mean, certainly they should be notified by phone, if nothing else.
I think Kevin sent an email saying he was gonna do that. He wanted to know the outcome of tonight, and then
Okay.
he was gonna let them know.
Yeah, he did want to know the outcome.
No, he said he was gonna notify them.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess an email to them, and if they need something from us on letterhead, we can certainly provide that.
yeah, I'll ask, I didn't see that email, but I'll ask, Kevin if he's gonna send them out.
When did he send it?
Let me try to find it.
Some of these emails have been going to a different account of mine and not coming here, so I may have to look on a different device.
Well, let's just, so Lynn's email that has the resolutions was also copied to him. So we just need to notify him that it was approved.
Yep, sure, I'll do that right now, and then ask him if he intends to send them out. Again, I do know that he is on vacation, but he did bring his computer. We'll see what he intends to do.
Okay.
Yeah, Lynn, it doesn't look like you will see his email, so what I'll do is Kevin's email, so what I'll do is I'll just forward it to you so that you're up to speed on what he was saying here.
Okay, thank you.
And did anybody else not receive it? I can forward it to them as well, to you all. Okay. Okay, should be in your inbox momentarily. Okay, anything else we need to do from a financial or legal perspective before we adjourn tonight? We have some other business to conduct, actually, so we may do that. We have to write some checks, that's about it.
I think at some point you want to alert the folks at at advisors that the board took the action tonight and that they should proceed with the borrowing.
Yes. Financial advisors, I think it was, right?
Fiscal.
Fiscal advisors, yep. Mhm.
I have several documents of theirs and I have a contact in my phone for one of those folks. All right, so I can reach out to them. If we have any questions, I guess we'll be in contact with you folks as appropriate. Okay, going once, going twice. Anybody have any comments?
Congratulations.
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 You bet.
There's a champagne here, but maybe at your end there should be. All right, so
But it's
this is a
Champagne.
momentous occasion. I appreciate everybody's hard work that we've put in over the years. I wish we had more people in the audience tonight, but we had, I don't know if you folks are having the same kind of issue. We had a severe set of storms go through a few minutes ago. So you might have heard the siren of one of our apparatus driving away. So I think everybody's out on calls tonight. So, okay, very good. I thank you all. Thank you for everything you've done for us, guiding us through all this. And we will absolutely be talking with you again in the not too distant future. So thank you. Have a good night. And find the closest beer.
So, and commissioners, you've done a wonderful job under difficult circumstances.
We've managed to get this far, and thank you for all your help too. Thank you for everything.
You bet.
Okay, have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I don't have anything other than a few checks that we have to write, a couple of them. So
Okay.
we can adjourn if anybody has anything else, unless somebody has.
Well,
anything
I
else
just want to
bring
make
up.
it clear, I'm not against the project.
course.
Please understand that. I do have major concerns that no files are in there at all to show, let's say, the information that you were looking for tonight or for today, for the last 3 meetings, the financials. There are no files, they should be in there, period. Also the fact that we have 5 accounts and, the figures couldn't be found. Out of those 5 accounts, only 2,
Well-
and not barring not having a treasurer, out of the 5 accounts, 2 are untouchable. So why it was so difficult really concerns me.
Okay, so
And that is my issue.
let me speak to one of your concerns. We have access of late to, I'm not gonna show this towards the camera, but we have access of late to our accounts.
I did get a copy
Yeah,
of that.
right.
Yeah, so
So
that's,
you
I
know
got
what
it
we have-
yesterday, or 2 days ago, whatever. that
Right.
was.
So Charlie and I both have access, read only.
Okay,
So we can look and see what's in the account at any time
okay,
online. So that's where we are. And with that information, our legal staff and our legal financial staff, that was on here just a few moments ago, they have advised and also the auditors have advised separately that based upon that and based upon what we've had in the past up until December 31st of 2023, they feel that by judiciously moving monies around with permissive referendum,
understood.
not touching the untouchable accounts.
Right, I
Okay,
understand all of
that
that.
we will be able to do this within the scope of the law. under the
I
law.
understand all of
Yeah.
that. And again, it goes back to communication. I mean, I've been asking for this
Yeah.
information since February. It was good in January, but I've been asking since February. Crickets, literally.
Well,
So I don't appreciate that, and I would hope that communication, especially on a $15+ million project, would be better when a commissioner asks a question. Because if I'm asking and not getting an answer, I don't know if anybody from the neighbors now that have to be notified
that's
asking
another thing we gotta
questions.
notify.
and are not getting answers. I do have a suggestion, maybe the town e-newsletter, that magazine that just came out, Stroll. Those are some places that you could start advertising, but you do understand where I'm coming from, and it's frustrating. So I just want to put that out there. And like,
Yeah, so I think you will agree, and I'm not meaning this to be an argumentative session here, but you will agree that I have stepped up and I'm better than
oh,
I
I agree,
was.
I agree.
Yeah, so
But
I'm
you've
doing
been
my
here a
part.
long time, right? Ed, you've been here since the beginning, so not getting any answers is
Yeah.
frustrating. I'm
And-
trying to learn. I was there, 6 years ago, and I knew what it was about, but a lot has changed. The bond passed.
Right.
So without being able to gain any or gather any information, I cannot educate myself. And I just want you to understand why I'm frustrated, and not that I'm against the project. The firefighters and the public definitely, absolutely deserve a good, fully built space. The firefighters, number one, you were here today, they need a decon
Yeah.
area, fully equipped, not partially equipped, fully equipped for
Right.
their safety. And I just want you to understand, I
Sure.
will work hard for the things I have to work hard for, but not having any answers
Yeah, it's
is
frustrating.
not acceptable.
Sure.
Not only
So-
frustrating, it's not acceptable.
Sure. And to your point about the records not being in there, that's something we've got to dig into.
It's awful. The
We've got-
last record's in there,
we've got to-
2017.
We've got to figure out where they ended
Christine
up.
said she had some at home. Well, put them in there, but as the official record keeper of the district, your record should be meticulously kept in there
Yeah.
for
Well-
all types of reasons, especially, and I'm gonna say it again, a $15 million project. Where are the records? Where are they? There's a 5-year gap. They have to be kept in there. So you can take it from there, but,
Well, I think high on our priority, if not highest on our priority, is to find out where these records are. If we have minutes online someplace, maybe we can print them out and
I
put them in
suggested
binders.
that the last
Yeah,
meeting.
even
Print-
before that, you suggested it.
Well, they
Yeah.
were in there. Print the records and put the minutes and put them in there.
exactly. Yeah.
Anything to do with the project, put them in there.
Sure.
Have records of all the financials you're spending for the project in one place.
Sure, it's gotta be, gotta be.
It has
We
to be.
we
So
can't-
no more talking about it. It has to be done.
Sure,
And,
and I would like to ask you, I think I asked you once before, if you would help guide us with that record keeping task, not necessarily do it, but give us some guidance on how to do it, because you did this job. You did the secretarial job for so many years. You have a better handle on it than any of us in this room. So I would
I will-
beg you to help us.
I will
with that.
guide you, but I can't do it without the records,
Of
and that's
course,
a
of
problem.
course. No, we're gonna work on that, all of us. We're gonna have to find out from prior commissioners, from prior secretaries, prior treasurers, prior everything, and find out if they have anything in a box, in the shoe box or in the
Well,
hall closet.
The records have to be kept.
Sure,
That's not an
sure.
option.
I know,
Records
I'm
have
not
to be
saying that.
kept.
I'm just saying we have to do some research and figure out where that stuff is. And if we have to find it in the emails or whatever, we have to get that back.
And that's sad to
Because-
say that.
I know,
You know, it's
I'm
sad to
with you,
say
I'm
that.
with you, 100%.
So that's
Okay.
another topic, but I just want to understood that the project, in my mind, it's a good project. It has to be done 100%, not half.
Mhm.
The equipment must be supplied for the safety of the firefighters, first and foremost. And I do have concerns about the finances, especially since 3 accounts couldn't be, accounted for, the basics couldn't be accounted for, and I just want that understood. That to me was unacceptable. Treasurer or no treasurer, there should be records somewhere. So,
Well, when we go online, we can do that actually here if you want to look at it. We can go online and we can look back year by year, month by month and see.
well, that was that figured into my
Yeah,
decision, and
right.
I'm sure it was a very big motivator for the firefighters and their frustration for really not being so convinced that this project would happen,
Well,
and I think you all got that feeling from that.
Yeah, did we ever?
Right, so
Okay.
you can adjourn. There's
No,
nothing
no,
else.
if there's anybody that has any comments, I think now is the time to talk about it. This is kind of a Memorial Day. We did this, it took a few years to do. None of us were on the project, in this position when it started.
And
But
I
here we
think
are.
all the,
Here we are.
the prior fire commissioners that worked on this
That's
project
Right,
in the trenches for a long
Yep.
time, the first one was voted down.
Yep.
They worked hard.
sure
They
did,
should all be notified of what took place
Sure.
today.
sure. Okay, we'll have to do that. All right, so no, yes, sir.
Yeah, I have one thing. So, the town building inspector needs to be notified who are the chosen contractors.
Okay, we'll get that.
Is that,
Kevin would probably know.
Kevin is going to do that?
I know he's on
mean,
vacation, but
It's on our sheet of paper, wherever I put that. It's buried here someplace.
Yeah.
But I mean, we certainly have it, but it's also something that Kevin will undoubtedly be reaching out, but we can follow up with him Monday. Let's do that on Monday and
Oh,
tonight.
I think, yeah, but, we
He's on
need to do it by Friday.
We can do that if I just don't want to bother Kevin because he's on vacation. He's giving us some help.
no, Dwight, I understand he's on vacation, but this is, time is of the essence right now.
Right.
And,
Well, I'm not arguing.
I don't think he's gonna put up a fight that he can't go in swimming for an hour. Or wherever he is, I don't know where he is.
Where
but,
is this? Had a sheet of
This is a
paper.
project he's been working on too,
Yeah,
so do
sure.
what you have to do.
Here,
Contact him, please, and
maybe
ask him
Reddy
to make the
do it.
notification.
I think I'm not sure if I have Reddy's number, but I certainly can reach out to Kevin and he can certainly forward it from Reddy. So
You should probably just shoot him an email right now,
Yeah,
I can-
advising him that it passed.
yeah, I would agree.
we can do that. Okay, but we don't need to do that during open session. So does anybody have anything else to keep the meeting going? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I second that.
all right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, very, very good.